Namaste everyone, welcome to our 5th day of the World Interfaith Harmony Week celebrations. Today we have an array of speakers and a beautiful musician. I'd like to invite Dr. Sujita Vaisal for a prayer to start the program.
Thank you so much, Guruji. Namaskar, everyone. I'm honored to be here with all of you and to join this session. I'll just start with the prayer. Om Bhur Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodaya Tvamiv Mata Cha Pita Tvamiv Bandhu Cha Sikha Tvamiv Vidya Dravidam Tvamiv Sarvam Mam Dev Om Shanti 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 हे ईश बहुपकार तुमने सर्वदा हम पर किए उपकार प्रति उपकार में क्या दे तुम्हें इसके लिए है क्या हमारा सृष्टि में यह सब तुम्ही से है बने संतत ऋणी हम हैं तुम्हारे तुम हमारे हो धनी लोक शिक्षा के लिए अवतार तुमने था लिया निर्विकार निरेह होकर नर सदस्य को तुक किया श्री राम नाम ललाम जिसका सर्व मंगल धाम है हम सब का उन्हीं सर्वेश को श्रद्धा सहित प्रणाम है.
Thank you, Dr.
Om Namo Narayan.
Thank you, Dr. Sujita Vaisal. Wonderful prayers. Now I'd like to invite Cindy to introduce our guest of honor, Professor Dr. Angeline Butler. Cindy, please. Sorry.
Hello. Welcome,
Hello.
everyone. Thank you, Guruji, for hosting us and for doing a wonderful job and your team on the Interfaith Harmony Week. Professor Butler is a renowned leader in the civil rights movement. She was one of the leaders of the sit-in movement and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in Nashville, which a lot of people don't know, that was the impetus for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, that some of you may have heard of, that really changed not only the United States, but helped inspire the world by setting goals non-violently to change those things about where people could sit at lunch counters and then on buses and integration. And that's, you know, if there's something that's World Interfaith Harmony, it's about integrating and us all being able to work together. And Professor Butler was honored at the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence right before the pandemic, our last one in person before the pandemic. And she has stayed on with the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence, Alert and Lead Serving, and has become one of our most active members. So she still is doing the work and leading. And without further ado, I'll let her tell you more about herself and the work that she's doing with us and with you, Guru, and everybody else. So we're honored to have you, Professor Butler, representing us as always.
Lindy, Crescitelli, you're catching me off guard.
Hard to do, right, after all these years.
I'm a South Carolinian, and I grew up on a farm I'm an adopted child at 12 days old, and to Reverend and Mrs. Isaac Bartley Butler of Eastover, South Carolina, who was the principal of the Crossroads Elementary School. And if you take a look at my board in back, that is my father, Reverend Butler. And just above that, you'll see the Butler sisters. I think you can see that. And this is a very proud thing for me because you know, I could have ended up in an orphan. I could have ended up on the street. You know, I could have ended up everywhere, but I was put into the protective arms of Reverend and Mrs. Isaac Bartley Butler of Eastover. And they produced, after adopting me, 5 children. You know, it's like they were married for 3 years and they didn't have children, and they adopted Angeline, and boom, 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 boom. Okay. And those 5 girls that they produced, we're all still alive. We're all over 70 years old, and we feel it's a miracle that we're all basically in good health and we're still alive, living in different parts of the United States. Now, when I went to Fisk University for the first time, you know, I was always my father's, you know, doll baby when I was a little kid. And then, you know, he brought me up. He took me every place he went. You know, he preached revival meetings. He preached in 3 different churches where he was pastor, the Pleasant Grove Church, the Daughter Zion Church, the Ceylon Baptist Church. I went to all of those religious ceremonies with him. And we used to, as children, get down on our knees, and they had like a mourning bench where the adults would pray over us, and they would hope that we would get the Holy Ghost and join the church. Okay. And sometimes some of the Black people that were praying, they were very long-winded. And so the children would naturally say, "Ooh, Bubba Grant is praying too long." And their knees are hurting them. Well, I then began to teach Sunday school, and then played the organ and the piano, and I conducted the junior choir. So my background is never without religion. And you know, a lot of my older friends in the civil rights movement who became agnostic or atheist, they say, "Why do you still, you know, go to church?" Well, I go to church because this is my learned behavior. I love those songs. I love the Negro spiritual. I love those songs that Black people created when they were in the cotton fields. They were slaves, and they worked shackled and chained, and plowed the rows and picked the cotton and pulled the fodder and did all of that work sun up to sundown. And they created these songs, which were a way of making life easier in a terrible life of hardship. And I think for me, that's been the message that's been most important for me, because I don't think the hardship has ever stopped. You know what I mean? And we look at it right now, and we still see, you know, with voting rights, with all of the different things that are going on, the far right and their reaction to people of color, you know, and people and poor people, you know, because it isn't really about Black or white anymore, is it? It's about people in the world that don't have all the things that they need to survive and to be equal participants in any society where they live. You know, terrible things going on throughout the world. And so songs became the guiding light for those people. It pulled them through, much like maybe meditation pulled through people in India, people in other parts of the world, or Buddhism, you know, pulled people through in Japan. You know, it's faith. It's quiet. It's hearing the voice of God that is within us. And I always try very hard to listen to those voices that come to me. And, when I plan my day, for instance, I wake up in the morning after having slept, and I had listened to what was in my dreams and what was in my thoughts. And that becomes my agenda for the day. Now, when I was a teenager in college, I was lucky to meet Martin Luther King, who came to Fisk University. And I was 16 when I met him. I went to college at 15 years old because I was not an early entrant. We were able to make 2 grades a year in South Carolina because our father was the principal of the school, and we went to school in the summer and in the winter and in the fall. And so sometimes we were accelerated. But I met Martin Luther King when I was 16, and I had the chance to show him around campus at Fisk University. And I showed him the art collection at the Fisk University Art Gallery. And that was really one of the first times that I began to hear about what nonviolence really meant. I mean, I had heard of Rosa Parks and Montgomery. I hadn't heard of Gandhi. But here through Martin Luther King, just an informal talk, I was hearing about Montgomery and what it had meant, and Rosa Parks and what she had done, and what the over 300 days boycott of the buses had accomplished. So it's like I had a personal informant about something that was a historical fact already that really, as a young girl, I didn't really know much about. 1 year later, I was going to nonviolent workshops in Nashville with Reverend Jim Lawson, Reverend C.T. Vivian, Reverend Kelly Miller Smith, who actually pastored the First Baptist Church in downtown Nashville. And that was about 3 or 4 miles from our campus at Fisk University and Tennessee State and American Baptist Theological Seminary, which is where John Lewis, Bernard Lafayette, and James Bevel were. And we eventually formed a central committee, which had roughly 15 people on it, 15 young people. Jim Lawson did not try to tell us what to do, but we had the nonviolent role playing in the workshops, and all of us were in those workshops. And then we formed our own central committee. Now, what did we do in the workshops? We role played. So we would give ourselves an as if situation. Let's say, let's say you send 6 people downtown, and they sit at a lunch counter. And then all of a sudden, you're being heckled by the population within the store. What's going to be your behavior? They're going to call you names. They might spit on you. They may pull you off the stool. They may fight you. What's going to be reaction? At that point, it's an intellectual discussion. But then the ministers like Metz Rollins, C.T. Vivian, they lined up behind us, sitting in front of the chair, and they pushed us on the floor. And they called us those dirty, terrible names that people would call us. And then we had to get up and say, well, how did you feel? Being knocked out of the chair, being thrown to the floor, being called those horrible names that start with N. And we said, well, we want to hit them back. Want to get up and fight, because that's what we used to do. And then they would go into a discussion as to why we could fight back. And what would happen if we fought back? We would cause more commotion, a bigger riot, a whole number. So then we set up a group of 15 students as a central committee. And we actually began to test downtown. But we didn't agree yet to go to jail. We agreed to test different places and to involve other students in the test and bring more students to the workshop. And so what they did was they moved the workshops up closer to the campuses, to the Clark Memorial School, church, I'm sorry. And now it was easier for students at Fisk University, students at American Baptist Theological Seminary, students at Tennessee A&I University, Agricultural and Industrial University, to get there. And so we'd have a church full of people. And then now, once we began to test, we would use small groups, and we'd go downtown and we'd sit at the counters, and we understood that we could not react no matter what happened. But we decided that if they closed the store on us, that we would not get arrested, we'd leave. And then we would come back to the workshop and now give our reaction to the interaction that had gone on between the white people who were there as customers in the store. And I mean, they did everything. They spit on you. They threw things off the counter. They heckled you, and you ain't supposed to be there. Niggers and dogs not allowed. This kind of thing. And then we said, we really need to do some serious demonstrating. It brought to our consciousness the fact that we really needed to change this thing, because we found out that in Nashville that Blacks alone in the perimeter of the city spend about $60 million a year in these stores, in the downtown and in the Nashville community. And we began to ask those questions. Well, we need to change this thing, because a mother who shops for her kids at Easter and spends her last dime, to go and have her children look great, she can't stop with her children at a lunch counter in the store where she has spent so much money and ask for sodas and milkshakes and hamburgers and hot dogs for her kids' lunch. This isn't right. And then also, when we look around at the stores, we're spending all that money in the stores. We can't be hired there. Why aren't we salespeople in the stores? Why aren't we doing jobs other than janitorial jobs? And why are those signs up that say for colored only, the water fountains? And why are the bathrooms saying colored and white? We really began to take that all so very serious. And I'd been there for us all our lives, but most of us, we were protected by our families. They took us everywhere. We didn't have to, as children, as teenagers, we didn't have to face any kind of abuse because our parents were with us. And the parents knew the rules in the South, and they protected us from that. We didn't have to get on the public buses. We didn't have to travel interstate on the buses that were segregated, Greyhound Trailways. So we knew very little about it. We knew an intellectual understanding about it, but we didn't have the actual experience. So at these workshops and the actual tests that we did in small groups in Nashville, it really opened our eyes as to what and how the white population was feeling against the Black population. And we took it seriously, and we began to really demonstrate. And now we decided that whatever happens, we were going to go through it. And now we get a phone call from the chief of police. Tell the students if they come down here on Saturday morning, they will be arrested. Well, big dilemma for us. We hadn't really entertained the idea of being arrested, going to jail. You know, parents, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, they worked very hard to put us in school. My parents are paying like $600 a year for tuition. The students at American Baptist Theological Seminary, they're paying about $250 a year. And that's a hardship for a lot of families in the South at that time in 1959, 1960. And then all of a sudden, we had to say to ourselves, the KKK, they're very prominent in the South. All they have to do is make a phone call and they can burn down your parents' house. All they have to do is make a phone call and another KKK group will go and lynch your daddy or close his school or whatever. We had to look at all of that. So here we are at 6 o'clock in the morning on February 27th, 1960. Making that decision to be arrested. And there are 15 of us on the Central Committee, and we had several demonstrations from February 1st, February 13th, where we had almost, 200, 300 students sitting in every place they could sit in Nashville. But this morning, there were only 44 students upstairs, and there are 15 of us on the Central Committee. And we have to go upstairs and tell them that if we go downtown that day, we're going to be arrested. And we have to give them the choice of whether they will follow us to do that. And one by one, those students raised their hands to go downtown that morning. I think for me, that was the most moving moment in the whole movement. Because we're here in the beginning. See, Rosa Parks happened in 1955 and 56, and well, Emmett Till in 1955, but Rosa Parks in 1956. We're here in 1959 training in nonviolence, but then it's 1960 now that we're consciously electing to be arrested. And this is the third downtown demonstration. And this is the morning of February 27th. We broke up into small groups and we approached the town from different directions so the police couldn't notice or break us up before we reached our destination. We went to places like Harvey's department store, Sloan Kane department store. We went to the pharmacy that was across the street from on the main street, similar to a Walgreens. And then we went to McClellan's 5 and Dime, Woolworth, the 5 and Dime stores. And we took our seats at the counter. Now it's a funny thing, my group had Paul LaPrade in it and Laura Green, who were white exchange students. And my group was a group of 7. And John Lewis was a part of my group that morning. And they pulled Paul LaPrade, 2 young white men, off the counters and they beat him up, pulled him to the floor and they beat him up. They beat him up because he was a white student demonstrating with us. That made them so angry that white students were with us. And so the police came in and they arrested those 2 guys and Paul LaPrade. And then they made us get off the counters. And then when we got outside, we realized the only people they were taking downtown to the jail was Paul LaPrade and the 2 boys, 2 white boys. So Bernard Lafayette, who was monitoring the situation, he was running from store to store, checking on what was going on. That was his job that morning. He always tells the story that because of me, he lost his job that morning because I see Bernard out there and I said, Bernard, they're not arresting us. So I pull him by the hand and I pull him back in the store and my group back in the store. And then we go back in, they had roped off the counters and we stepped across the counters and retook our seats. And now we became the first arrest out of 106 students that were arrested on February 27th, 1960. And this is the beginning story of the student nonviolent movement. From there, we went to sit-in spread throughout the nation in support of us in the North, and throughout the South. Over 2,000 students went to jail over a period of time. And then in the next year, we did when we came back to school, we did the movie theaters. And then in the summer of that next year, we did the Freedom Rides. And that was together with the Congress on Racial Equality, which was out of New York. That was James Farmer. And then the next summer, we went into Selma with voting rights, and also Albany, Georgia, working on voting rights. And then now Septima Poinsett Clark, her programs become very important to us, the citizenship schools and literacy, and training people to read and write those parts of the Constitution that they're being forced to read in order to register to vote. And then after that comes Selma. And Bernard, Lafayette, John Lewis, James Bevel are now going to Selma and working. And Amelia Boyington was from Selma, and she was the one that gave them community support. She said, I'm not going to let these white people run me out of my homes. And she stood up, and the community stood up behind them. And so now Bernard Lafayette, John Lewis, and James Bevel had an entree to Selma to begin registering people for voting and marching. And I'm going to end there because up to, well, one more thing, Mississippi Summer was the next year. We went to Mississippi. And then the next year we had the voting rights marches, you know, led by Jose Williams, John Lewis, and just Amelia Boyington and thousands of people. And you know, the rest is history.
Thank you so much, Professor Butler. And there is more to the story, and you can hear more about that type of continuation at the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence events. I also want to introduce one of our youth representatives. And I love what's on the screen right now, Guruji, because it's Professor Butler, who was changing the world before I was even born. And over here, Emma, who is one of our youngest youth representatives. And that's what it's about. Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence is intergenerational, and about, as you know, Guruji is also one of our key organizers. It's intergenerational. It's about that story that Professor Butler just told, inspiring young people like young Emma, who is a part of the Global Leaders Institute, run by a former co-chair of Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence, the amazing Mr. George Anthony, at a Mater Dei Prep in New Jersey. And Emma has been to the United Nations and involved in speaking about women's issues and nonviolence already. How old are you, Emma?
I'm 16 years old.
16 years old. So that's what gives us hope about the future. So Emma, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence and what you're up to during this World Interfaith Harmony Week? Thank you, Emma.
Gladly. You're gonna make me cry, Mr. Crescitelli. I don't want to cry this morning. So
Joy.
My name is Emma DeBiase. I am a junior at Mater Dei Prep High School, as Mr. Crescitelli says, in Middletown, New Jersey. I am part of the Global Leaders Program, where we go to the UN, we speak about global issues, and we make sure that we can create a world of peace inspired by stories like Professor Angeline Butler. So Mr. Anthony is my teacher and the runner of the program, and he encourages us to take part of many conferences and global institutions. So I parted my way and I started on my own to continue that legacy of talking in UN conferences and making sure I make a statement in our world, because who is going to these days? Because everybody's scared to speak out. Everybody is scared to make sure to make something of the world. I'm not afraid of that. I'm a firm believer of my beliefs, and I will speak out about my beliefs. one of my colleagues, and I would love to share it, one of my colleagues got me a bracelet. It has the word peace in 6 different languages. And I thought this would be a perfect representation of what the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence is about. Peace spread throughout the world. It shows from Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They showed peace to young people like Angeline. They showed us that they will not back down from their beliefs. They will keep going until their voices are heard. Now in class right now in my school, I am learning about the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I'm reading Martin Luther King's Jr. letter from Birmingham jail. His belief was strong and is continuing to be strong today through the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence. I cannot wait for this year. I've only been on the committee for 1 year and I've experienced so much love, peace, and just family. They've become my second family because it's so nice to see that you have people that share the same beliefs as you, and then you can stand up with each other. All it takes is one person. I say this all the time, and all it takes is one person to change the world. So my last saying before I leave is be the force that inspires change and be the change that makes a difference. Thank you.
Wonderful, Emma, wonderful. Truly baton passing, that's so inspirational. And we'd like you all to save the date of April 4th, 2022. That will be the culmination event of the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence, which began on January 30th, the anniversary of the tragic assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, all the way to April 4th, the tragic assassination by gun violence of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it was formed 25 years ago at the United Nations by members of the Gandhi and King families. And we continue that legacy now 25 years later. And so we're in currently the season for nonviolence. So it's appropriate that Interfaith Harmony Week falls in that period of time. And we will continue in this season of nonviolence until April 4th. We will have other events before then. You can go to Gandhi King, S as in season, F as in 4, N as in nonviolence.com, and we'll continue to post more information about the additional events we'll have, including one on spirituality and across cultures and faiths, probably featuring Guruji, as well as on April 4th, and we'll keep you posted on those dates. Thank you so much, Guruji. You are a blessing to this world, and World Interfaith Harmony Week could not have a better representative than what you have done this week and throughout this month.
Thank you, my brother Lindy Crescitelli, who is leading the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence group. Last some years, I'm part of your movement. I'm so happy we are doing a partnership events. It's very important to come together from different faith and cultures. This is the way we bring the peace through our own actions. I'm so happy we were hearing to our Professor Angeline Butler, my friend. It is a very inspiring experience you share with us. I look back to the history of the world. You see, ignorance created a lot of problems, and we matured people should change the world through our love and care. That you are doing wonderful work. We'll have other events coming up, and their month we have different programs. And the last program will be on February 28th. That will be our 37th annual Interfaith Festival. I never thought when I started that in early mid 84, 85. That's the time I start. I never thought it will come to this stage. I had a small group in my home. As an interfaith born baby, I never had any idea. Just move on. What are happening? This is why I move. Then I see Rebecca Turay also joining here.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I want to appreciate Emma. She's not a youth now. She's a matured person. The way she speaks. So we'll put Rebecca, then we'll give to Dr. Sima Karetnaya, my friend. So Rebecca, Please unmute yourself.
Rebecca, just so you all know, she was selected out of all the young people in the world to be one of the few to represent all the youth of the world at this past United Nations International Day of Peace student observances at the UN. So that's a real accomplishment. Rebecca.
Rebecca, floor is for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the applause. I think that recognition of being able to speak at the United Nations and representing the students of the world is just a title that I'm holding for now. But I can imagine that someone that possibly could come from this realm, this program, could also hold that same title. And I really appreciate you guys highlighting that. But I guess a short introduction would be that I'm Rebecca, I'm 18 years old, and I'm a college freshman at Brooklyn College. And I spoke at the United Nations student observance of the International Day of Peace.
And Rebecca will be featured at the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence events this year as well. One other quick, I want to give a shout out. I see brother Ibrahim Sharif, who is with us at Gandhi King and is the former head of the Martin Luther King Commission for the state of New Jersey, and has been very much involved with us over the years, and will continue and also be working with us in Guruji on this year's Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence. So wonderful people brought together here today, and continuing all throughout the Interfaith Harmony events and right through to the Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence events on April 4th. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, my dear friends from Gandhi King group. We are going to do strong events. I hope we can invite our Consul General of India to be part of that event. We'll work on that part. Okay. So now I like to invite my friend, that is Ambassador Dr. Sima Karetnaya. She is one of the leading spiritualists, socialists, health person around the city and at the UN. And she is here, Dr. Sima, flourish for you.
Thank you, Honorable Guruji. Good morning to everyone. Even though it is cold outside, it is sunny and bright, and I would like to extend my most heartfelt greetings and smiles and positive energy to all of you. Thank you so much, dear Guruji, for doing yet another great, magnificent event, like every single event that you're putting together. I would like to show my most heartfelt gratitude and respect towards all the guests and my fellow co-speakers here. It is so wonderful and awesome to see our youth lead the great path. To set good examples, to follow the good leads, not to go the wrong ways. It's very inspiring. It's positive. It's very, it sets a great energy for the future, because as we know, our youth is our future. Our youth is where we all start. That's what I wanted to introduce with, to introduce myself. I am Ambassador Dr. Sima Karetnaya, and I am a 7-time certified medical expert committee member of the World Health Organization. I am also the Global Peace Chain's Global Peace and Public Health Ambassador, the largest organization within the United Nations that is following, the principles of sustaining development goals in the world globally, basically. And I'm also a panelist of national and international societies, organizations, committees, concerning international multicultural affairs and public health affairs. And of course, as usual, I always like to speak about public health being one of the major crises in this world. However, since we are in the Interfaith Harmony Week right now, public health is not what I'm going to focus my speech on. I'm going to focus on what represents my faith. And I am Russian American. I was born in Ukraine. I came here to the United States 25, almost 26 years ago. And I am Jewish. Judaism is the religion I represent, though I personally think we are all universal. We all represent one religion, and that is God. You know, there's only one God. There's only one belief that unites us under one umbrella of faith. However, since we all had been categorized into religions many years ago, you know, the category I and my family was put into was Judaism. And so with that being said, I would like to tell a few words about what happened last week. And last week was the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. The International Holocaust Remembrance Day is celebrated on January 27th. This is the day when the Auschwitz concentration camp was liberated by the Red Army. The Red Army is another word for the Soviet Army. That was when the Soviet troops liberated the most heinous, the most torturous death factory in the history of humankind. And I was honored and privileged to represent the United States, to represent my culture, my country, and the entire world in the country that the United States has been to all of us through the years. During the virtual celebration of the 77th anniversary since the liberation of the Auschwitz concentration camp, I was happy to mention that the United States has signed a resolution stating that any denial of the Holocaust being a fact and not a myth will be prosecuted to the most severe extent of the law. We have all witnessed how many people, regular civilians or elected officials, or even community leaders, which is extremely sad and terrifying to witness, have been claiming that the Holocaust has been a myth. You know, it was all made up, it was all fake, it just couldn't happen. Everything was too terrible to be real. You know how we usually say things are too good to be true? Now, these people were saying that the Holocaust was too bad to be true. Well, I have to tell you this. A concentration camp is definitely not too bad to be true. It's too bad, but it's also true, unfortunately. And the reason I'm saying it is instead of it was is because, unfortunately, there is still slavery today. And I'm not just talking about African-American slavery. I'm talking about slavery in general. There is sexual slavery. There's human slavery. There's labor slavery. You know, there's child slavery in many different countries across the globe. There's domestic slavery, meaning, you know, if children are being abused by their parents, or if women or men are being abused by their spouses, they're being enslaved in their home. Okay, So through seeing all of these different episodes and all of these different events in every single human's life right now, we can see that concepts such as a concentration camp or slavery hasn't gone anywhere. They're still here, which is why this resolution by the United Nations, granting the prosecution by law to those that are going to deny the Holocaust having been a fact, is the key step towards universal peace and collaborative tactics towards bringing multicultural awareness and multicultural tolerance and multicultural inclusivity to our world. The COVID pandemic has not only been a health pandemic, a health crisis, it has brought light into the multicultural crisis, because we have been having the multicultural crisis up until today. So the end of the COVID pandemic, which I hope, in addition to my, in addition to with my help also, we're gonna reach the end very, very soon. We should go towards victory, not only in terms of public health. We should go towards victory in terms of restarting, rebuilding of the multicultural existence on this earth. And with that being said, I would like to say that I do not belong to a particular category of ethnicity, religion, culture, race. I belong to one race, and all of us belong to one race, to one culture, to one ethnicity, to one religion. And that religion is not categorized, but characterized with 3 words. And the 3 words are human, peace, and faith. Thank you very much.
Well said, Dr. Sima Karetnaya. I know you're working hard with the community. Changes needed very soon. We cannot leave it forever. The slavery, you already mentioned, it is still here in different forms in different places. So only where we had to educate young children how to behave in the society, the value of the global community. Definitely we all will work together. We make the change through our actions. Appreciate your support. Thank you. Now I'd like to invite Suzuma Nomura. He is the guest performer for today. He is going to play violin. Thereafter, we'll have Reverend Kathleen Regan from the All Faith Seminary. So, Suzuma, floor is for you.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Suzuma. I came to New York City from Japan 5 months ago. I'm performing on the street in New York City, and I play the traditional South American music. So I'd like to connect the people by music, and today I'm gonna play the traditional music from Ecuador. Enjoy my performance. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. That was a very happy music. You pick up that music very well. Thank you, Susuma.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a wonderful performance. And actually, Susuma is introduced by Reverend Sharon Hamilton Getz. She's a vice president of the International Institute of International Social Development, and she's NGO representative at the United Nations. I hope she's watching the program. Either way, we'll be in touch very soon. Susuma, thank you again. Now, I'd like to introduce my longtime friend and colleague, that is Reverend Dr. Kathleen Regan. She is the Dean of the All Faith Seminary and a trustee at the All Faith Seminary and advisor to the Value community. She is from the lineage of Rabbi Joseph Gelberman. Without further delay, I would like to bring her to the screen. That here is Reverend Dr. Kathleen Regan. Floor is for you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I want to express my gratitude and thanks for being part of this wonderful event today. I'd like to start with a prayer for humanity. This is a mantra that was created many, many years ago. A mantra of unification. The sons of humanity are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring the light, the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all men love. And so much of that, even though it was written many, many years ago, it really applies today. And some of the things that I wanted to reflect upon today are cultivating internal harmony and world harmony for this special occasion. But before I begin that, I do want to congratulate Guruji for another outstanding event. He pours his love out from every pore of his being. And I want to congratulate him for his ongoing effort, his internal strength. He's such a great role model for all of us, and strengthens with everything that he does. He strengthens the interfaith community. So I'm sure, you know, he's heard all this before, but I just feel it's really something that I want to say and share. And he did share with me something the other day. He said that the New York State Assembly and Senate made a resolution for interfaith. That's pretty major. And he did, I'm going to quote him, he said, "This is the best news this year." So I'm really happy to, share that joy with everybody here today. And I do want to just reflect on a couple of things that I heard this morning. Professor Butler, your story, I just felt like you were a living history, and sharing those moments from 1960. I had tears in my eyes, and I was like, I can't do this today. I was really getting very emotionally attached to it. And then I thought, my goodness, even though that was a riveting story, it was so inspirational. And to hear it live, not read stories from, books or newspapers, you are living history. And I thank you for your courage, because we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for your effort and strength in 1960. So I wanted to mention that. Also, Dr. Sima, the work that you're doing is absolutely fabulous. And I'm really feel so proud to be here with you today on this wonderful day of celebration. I was thinking about the interfaith community in terms of the pandemic. How has this impacted us? There's negatives and positives, as you all know. The late Joel Bevers Lewis, who many of you may know from the World Parliament, he was a peace and unity activist, said at the 1993 Parliament of World Religions, "We are influenced by each other, by our experience in the world, and by our own changing perceptions. We are the members of many major religions, spiritual traditions, and philosophies of the world, and are beyond accurate counting." We really don't know all the religions of the world. We know the major ones, but the ones that are not major, we have no connection with. We think we do because of the internet, but there are so many villages and places in rural places in the world that they don't have internet. They don't have access to these technologies. So do we really know their rituals? Do we really know their beliefs and their cultures? They're not represented at the World Parliament, but we honor them, not knowing everything about them. As we enter our second year of the coronavirus pandemic, we are still in flux, aren't we? Things are changing, things are getting better, but I wonder, how has this pandemic affected our religions? Maybe not our individual faith or belief system in our given religion, but it's affected how we are gathering, how we are worshiping. The synagogues, the churches have emptied out. The mosques, the spiritual centers, the yoga ashrams, they've emptied out. They've had to rearrange how they communicate, how they gather with their communities. People are fearful of catching this virus, so they choose to stay home. Now, on the other hand, events like this are a direct result of that pandemic. I remember there was a time when Guruji would do a monthly satsang interfaith event in Manhattan, and that was beautiful. But since the pandemic, he went from a monthly event that he was leading. Of course, he used to participate in many other events during the month, the UN, and many other social cultural events with other faith traditions. However, when the pandemic started, he moved to doing interfaith events on Zoom every day. every day, every night. This is a major, this had a major effect on the interfaith community because we were brought together as his tribe or family. We were brought into this, which strengthened our relationships. And I see that as a very positive thing. You know, the technology, the Zoom and Facebook and Instagram have become our pulpit. So even though, yes, we've lost so many people during the pandemic, but we've gained something also. And I think through the darkness, this is the light that we've got to focus on. And I know that each of the communities have worked so hard. We're working so hard to serve. And this is not easy because we all have to protect ourselves and our families at the same time. I heard the other day, Imam Mohammed from Queens, he was talking about how in his community, you know, he's distributing food, serving people in hospitals. How many funerals have our clergy had to serve? We've had so many funerals. You know, this is a tremendous burden on us as interfaith clergy. But we've got to keep up our strength. So that's another part of my thoughts here, is that how do we care for ourselves? You know, we are always giving, we're always serving, but we've got to remember to take care of ourselves at the same time. Gurji was sharing with me last week that he makes an effort to go to the YMCA for 2 hours a day because he's got to balance out all that he gives to his community. He's got to take care of himself. You know, and I urge all of you to think about that because I know you're all working very, very hard. You know, I see that so many people are, you know, working now. We're moving out into the community again, attending some live events, but many of our events are still on Zoom. You know, the Global Peace Tribe, I don't know if any of you belong to that, but it's an incredible event that happens a few times a week on Zoom. And it's bringing people of like-minded together. The interfaith community is really rallying now and coming together and helping each other and strengthening. And I really see this resolution that was passed as a moving closer to where government and religion can really get locked together. You know, for so many years, the government and religion had to separate, but that resolution is going to bring things much closer together. And hopefully we'll be able to make some and see some great changes. As Guruji said, I am part of the All Faith Seminary International in Manhattan. We are an interfaith seminary, and there's never been a better time to become an interfaith minister. Interfaith is just a common household word today, and it's so important to the future of this planet. I want to share with you some of the belief systems that we teach our students. They're interfaith affirmations and principles. And this applies to all of us on the global level. 1, we affirm the truth in all religious paths and non-religious paths. 2, we affirm our belief that seeking attunement to spirit is the highest goal of conscious living. 3, we affirm an inclusive vision of we. We experience ourselves as part of the global human family. 4, we affirm the essential goodness of the human being. 5, we affirm that each person, indeed all life, is a part of the healing of the world. We have faith in the ultimate healing of the planet. 6, we affirm the value of interfaith interactions as enriching our awareness of spirit in the world. In my heart, in my soul, that says it all. And I know that all of you will agree with those principles. And I'm going to just again urge all of you to take care of yourselves on many levels. And I'm going to share with you 5 points that I learned from Swami Shivananda to take good care of yourself. 1, proper exercise. Doesn't matter what it is, but every day do something. 2, proper breathing. When we're under stress, do we breathe more or less? Generally, if we're not conscious about it, we're breathing less, which puts has a terrible negative effect on our immune system. So remember to breathe evenly, smoothly, and be aware of it. 3, proper relaxation, whether it's just closing your eyes and resting or sleeping a certain amount. We have so much to do as interfaith people. We're on the computer, we're on the phone, we're doing this, we're doing that, but you still need to rest the body and the mind. Proper diet. When we're so busy, it's so difficult to prepare nutritious food, but I urge you to take the effort, make the effort, take the time, find the space to cook properly for yourself and your family. And the 5th and most important one is proper thinking, positive thinking, meditation. You know, there's so much negativity in the world today. If you look at our cities, the gun violence, my family was affected by that just 2 months ago, not even 2 months ago. It's just tragic what's happening out there. However, we can't let the news, when we turn the television on or the internet on, if we let that negativity seep into our consciousness, we're the ones that suffer. So there's a minister in Montreal, I heard her say this last year. She said, when a negative thought or negative thoughts come into your awareness, into your consciousness, cancel them out. Just say cancel and replace it with something else. It doesn't matter what the positive thing is that you replace it with. It could be blue sky, red rose, whatever it is, it cancels out that negativity, because that negative thinking seeps into our consciousness and affects every cell of our being. So it doesn't help us at all. What helps us is to remain positive and to follow the people that are thinking right and have positive thinking, like Gurji and everyone here today. And I want to just close with some words from Swami Jyotirmayananda, who was a direct disciple of Swami Shivananda. Learn to see the divine hand behind every development in your life. Now and then you may confront adversity, but there is always a divine intention behind it. Wake up early in the morning with a short prayer and a loving affirmation of the divine presence. Perform your duties in daily life in the spirit of worshiping God through your actions. Endure adverse circumstances, surrendering yourself to the will of the divine beloved. Before going to sleep at night, calmly resign yourself in the hands of God. Total surrender to God is the greatest achievement in life. Become an instrument in divine hands and one with the divine melody. And may all of you be blessed with maximum grace. Amen.
Amen.
Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Kathleen Regan. You brought the 5 points. That's very important for a human being. I'll say a healthy body can create a healthy mind. A healthy body and mind can create a healthy soul. This next speaker is going to bring very important point. When one male and female want to have a child, they both should have a thirst to have a child, otherwise they don't have a copulation. Then a child will come out with a full energy. If Master brought this idea, real knowledge, he's going to speak. So I don't have to say that part. Let him speak. I'm glad, Reverend Kathleen, we are working together for a long time. And you are part of our value community. I'm part of the All Faith Seminary and the New Light Temple. I had to thank our Rabbi, Paris, still he is leading us. All are together, and definitely Rabbi Joseph Galberman, who was a Holocaust survivor. He came to America and made the change through seminaries. He made few seminaries. The end, he created the All Faith Seminary. That is one of the leading seminary in the world. Create reverence in interfaith studies. So those who like to join in our seminary, please join, talk to Reverend Kathleen, and be a student. Still, we can be a student when we are 100 years old, no problem.
Right.
So after next speaker, then I will invite two of my friends from Connecticut, that is Swami Balgopal and Pandit Ashok Kumar Pandey. So before them, I would like to invite Sasikumar Santhanan. He's advisor of the advisory committee at the Shantigiri Ashram in India, and the leading member of the Corporation Circle of URI. URI is an NGO at the United Nations, which I am part of it at the UN committee. And he's a former ambassador of Parliament of World Religion. I met him through Facebook, but physically I met him at the last parliament, which happened in Toronto in 2018. Reverend Kathleen was there and some other people were there. Additionally, he organized few of our programs with his leadership in Kerala. There was a beautiful few events happened, and he reintroduced me to their ashram. I go there, be part of their programs, and some of their monks and other leading officials are partnering with us the last few years. So we have a solid relationship, and I know his master. He's a disciple of Navajyoti Shri Karnagara Guru, and is the person belonged to my grandmaster Sri Narayana Guru, because I got that lineage through my grandparents, and my uncle Guru Niti Adineti, he was a disciple of Nadaraja Guru, and Nadaraja Guru was a strong disciple of Sri Narayana Guru, a social reformer. Without delay, I like to invite Sri Sasikumar Santhanan. Sir, floor is for you.
Om Shri Karunagara Guru Parabrahmane Namah. Om Shri Karunagara Guru Satya Pradaya Namah. Om Shri Karunagara Guru Adiva Satya Prakashaya Namah. Om Shri Karunagara Guru Adiva Satya Prakashaya Namah. Om Shri Karunagara Guru Adiva Satya Prakashaya Namah. Thank you, His Holiness Dileep Maharaj Ji, for affording me this kind and divine opportunity, and for all other leading all other guesters and leaders. This is Sasikumar from Kerala, and my humble greetings and prayers to all for the well-being and the togetherness of the humanity. The Interfaith festivals, as you can see, celebrations and dialogues, always help to understand the essence of the different religions of or faith groups. And this movement was started very long back, but I think that we are yet to reach or receive the desired results. Anyhow, I congratulate World Yoga Community and His Holiness Dileep Maharaj for organizing such wonderful events and satsangas despite adverse circumstances. And I pray to the God Almighty to give him more strength and long life to carry on with his mission. And today it is really amazing to see a lot of young participants in this meet. So I'm sure that they will work for the unity of the humanity and internalize and spread the essence of the teaching of spiritual, their respective spiritual masters or their school of thoughts. So my thoughts or my memory goes back to years back at the history of crusades. Hope many of you are aware of the history of the crusades, which is flashing in mind because now there is no direct conflict or direct wars between communities and faiths, but this clash or this war is still in our mind, and we use the neo platforms, high-tech platform to conduct these conflicts or war intact. And unlike earlier times, this is now it is in a very, very dangerous manner it is happening, but there is no direct fighting, but people are always engulfed into their own faiths and their own ideas. People are very, very blessed to open up and to understand the doctrine and the ideology of others. So it is just like knowing the fact and we are not doing anything. We know, see, we are the origin source, the origin source of all of our beliefs are same. Our souls are originated from a very same place, but still we are not capable to understand or act accordingly. This is because it is our soul is not having that knowledge. So if your soul is not having the knowledge of the truth, it is very difficult to practice. You can preach, you can say, you can make speeches and presentations that we should love to each other. We are all belongs to one Father, this and that. But unless your soul is internalized or your soul is not having the quality, it is very difficult to put into practice. So why it is happening? I am just looking into the facts, what are preventing our souls to understand and perform this truth, that our souls are, every souls are accumulated some karma, karma gari, accumulated some quality through our karmas we performed during our past births. So means as we perform the karma, there can be good karma or bad karma. Karma means action. I just want to give a small example. It's a shop seller who is selling good quality rice and bad quality rice. And what he did one day, he labeled the bad quality or the second grade rice as a first grade rice, and he was selling it. So he sold it to priestess, he sold it to pregnant ladies, he sold to students, he sold to so many other people in the society, or from these people from different parts of the society. At the end of the day, what he accumulated a lot of money. In fact, he was not deserving that because he was selling the second quality rice, labeling it as a first quality. So he has received a lot of money. That was the result of his karma he performed on that day. But there are, while performing any action, there are two karmas or two results are happening or coming. One is tangible and other is intangible. So in this particular action, the shopkeeper have earned a lot of money. That is the result of the tangible result of his action. What was the other intangible result? By throughout the day, he was cheating the people, selling the second quality rice as a first quality. So the intangible result is a cheating. That is the result of cheating, or this he is not able to refuse. The money he was receiving is that is a tangible result of his action. One is able to refuse it, but the intangible result of your action that we cannot refuse it. So like this way, we are acquiring our soul is acquiring certain qualities according to the karma we are performing. So over the years, so many of us know the name of our grandparents. Many of them know. But just may I ask that how many of us are able to recollect the names of our grandparents and great grandfathers and great forefathers? No. But still, we are in the lineage of our great ancestors, and we are carrying their DNA quality. So the DNA quality, how we are getting, that is because of the action we are performing, and through the result of the action, our soul is getting some quality, and this quality is transcending to our generation as a DNA fact. So in order to see, unless we are not able to cleanse our ancestors' souls and our own souls, we may not be able to get a good offsprings. So for this, many of us very particular about to have a good pedigree dogs, and we are very particular, very interested to have a high grade seeds to sow for getting good result or good harvest. And but unfortunately, we are not interested or we are not taught to have how to have a good offsprings or high pedigree offsprings. So for that, there should be a mechanism to cleanse our ancestors' souls and cleanse our own souls. And the another step is that we should give birth to such purified souls, to qualified parents. So there should be, first thing is to, we need a mechanism, we need a science which may able to cleanse the ancestral lineage. Then we should have another step, that is to cleanse our existing souls or living people's souls. Then we have to give birth to the ancestors' souls. It is already cleansed, and we should give birth to qualified children or offsprings. See, if we are this process, it is very easy to speak or easy to explain, but it is very difficult to practice. And as you know, there is no mechanism presently known in this world to cleansing someone's DNA. But I was fortunate enough to have such a superior soul or a fully realized master, that is none other than my spiritual master, Navajyoti Sri Karnaguru, who has performed this cleansing process from 1973 onwards.
With only one line, I'll give you $100. Oh, okay, ready?
Hello.
Yeah, please continue.
So, and we have more than 35,000 families who undergone this process, and not only the people who is directly associated with the master, but globally through subtle plane, Guru has performed this cleansing process. And from 1973 onwards, people, the children born in the different parts of the world is having this knowledge, and they will live accordingly, and they spread the love and faith, and they will work in unison to have a universal brotherhood. So this is the message I just want to share. But and also my request is that beside conducting these festivals and meetings and that sort of gatherings, we should have a very, very important idea to how we can have a qualified offsprings, and who may able to guide the whole humanity and guide the whole world to universal brotherhood. So this is the small message I want to share in this great occasion. And thank you everybody for listening. And thank you, His Holiness Guruji Dileepkumar Thankappan sir, Sadguru sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Sasikumar ji, joining us and bringing this a very important point from the spiritual philosophy. Because I remember when I was with my teacher from Siddha tradition, they always talk about this. In Ayurveda also they mention, even in the homeopathy, they have this idea, which is true in nature. So it's a lot of time people, we cannot tell people if they don't believe it, because it's not easy to see. It takes decades to understand what is it. So let us see, we do our work within our limitations. We cannot give up. So I like to thank Sri Sasikumar ji and the entire community of the Shantigiri Ashram. Please convey my regards to everyone. Thank you. Now I like to invite my friend, that is Swami Balgopal ji from Wilton Hindu Mandir in Connecticut and USA. He's the founder and president of the Wilton Hindu Mandir. A few months back, I was there for an interfaith program. He'll speak first, then he'll introduce his guests who came from India and staying with him at the temple in Connecticut, as Pandit Ashok Kumar Pandey. Without delay, I'd like to invite Swami Balgopal ji. Floor is for you.
Swastirasto pustirasto atmana kalyanamasto. Dear respected Dileep Guruji and all the friends who are speaker and who are the guest of today's occasions. Today's life is a very difficult, look like an age of the oceans, the shore of the sea, because we doesn't know what's going to be happen. All churches are empties, temple are empties, mosques are empties. People are sitting in the house. Whatever had happened 7 years ago, those difficulties, people getting frustrated. Anytime could happen to the violations. People can get the suicide. People have different threats. Divorce are going a lot. So that reasons, we are the religious leader should not be bound, should not be stay in the compound. We have to be come out from our heart. Whatever we have our limited knowledge, we have to be shared to the other faith. We have to be shared to the interfaith. Also, I believe because we cannot go in each other's. We have to have a more time to the share in the internet. What we are doing, what happening in the earth, what happening in the communities, that is very important. How we going to be think that? Who going to be think that? The one of the quotation says, Mahajanoe nagatas sapanta. Those people who had started earlier, so Martin Luther King, like Mahatma Gandhi's, like others says, Vivekananda's. So those we had to be follow up. So that is, those people had said, do not worry even yourself. First, give priority to the others. Like a small example, someone come to your house, may you do not eat full, but feed them enough. Also, those people who get satisfied, they can give us to the more blessing. That is a very important. Feel yourself to the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam Maho, all the earth. Those creatures are your lover. Without us, they cannot be survived. Like a dog, snakes, cats, all the house animals. Same as if you think those people in the earth who cannot work, who cannot talk, who are blind, those people does not have a one religion. Like a Hindu, Christians, Bible, anything. Those are the son of the God. Those are the depending to the us. Those people need a help. If we help them, that is a call universal brotherhood. Once we feel to that universal brotherhood, if you feel inside of their heart, have a Lord, have that super almighty. Once you felt for them, they can feel for you. Then violence can go down. We can talk to the non-violence now. If we are peace, then we can let them to the talk to the few minutes. They can listen to the us. Then they can continue figure out, oh, he loves me. They help me. I should not do anything wrong. For that, Lord had give us the few opportunity. We should not be lose that opportunity. I ask, continue to my old other priest. Continue, we can gather together, we can share together, like how Dileep Guruji had spread to the religious faith, kind, generous words. That is a very important. The once quotation they said, if you have evening, the moon is a light. It doesn't need to be like the little lamp. Moon is there, you can see it. Same things. If you are walk out, many people waiting for us. We had to give them to the blessing. You had get blessing, should not keep it. Once we share it, Lord can care us. May Lord bless you and our entire of your families, your churches, your congregation. I have a greatest soul from Banaras, Kashi. Is a temple town called. It is a Ashok Pandey. He had been contributing to this interfaith from that town. I had been there when I was just child. So he going to be lead us to the 3 minute. May Bhagwan bless you and continue. We have to be served to the earth.
Thank you, Swami Balgopal ji, Guru ji, Dileepji. I must express my gratitude. You have given me this wonderful opportunity to be here on this Interfaith week. It is the 5th day. Actually, faith is the guiding force of all our actions. It gives us purpose of life. In fact, it is said faith is life. Faithlessness is the end of life. Faith in action, faith in vision, faith in compassion electrifies us with invisible, distinct powers. Clarity of heart and mind gives immense pleasure to our soul. Every life matters. Not just some lives, every life matters. All creatures matter, big or small, visible or invisible. The nature, the earth, Mother Earth, wonderful balance in our ecosystem, the solar system, all matter. The unity in diversity is a ray in darkness that we cherish in our country with diverse cultures, diverse religions living together. That unity in diversity, the word is diverse, and the only feeling of oneness is the essence of all. We ought to identify the values that we share in common. The faith among faiths makes us more human. This interfaith discourse is well-conceived process leading to that coveted goal of love, compassion, and humanity. This sincere approach may lead to making our beautiful world better than ever before, like the heaven of our dreams. All the holy roads, I repeat, lead to the same cause. Here the holy word has immense importance and deep meaning. We all clean ourselves every now and then, meaning we have to go through the process of thinking and having more interchanges among faiths. And I think Dileep Guruji, in my view, is doing a great work by bringing us all together. As the changing world now, world order, we have seen this pandemic situation in our country, in India also, we face so many people lost their livelihood, so many people are facing, many of them lost their lives also. So our responsibility has increased. We have to be compassionate to others. With my small effort, I have been teaching there in Varanasi to the people about the love, humanity, and since 1983, I have never ever asked any student, any person, rich or small, poor, to pay them whatever they want, they do. I accept. But I have never given fixed anything to them, even if they pay or not pay. Even sometimes I've been to schools where poor children, some of them even beg for their fees. When we listened it, we have at our own resources, we raise funds to give them. And that is how we can feel the cause of the lowest man, the common man, the man to the earth, the last man in this world of privileged people. We have to share. Then only we can make this world more beautiful. Then I would like to say a few, just 4 lines, that hai bana aadmi aadmi ke liye, the farishte na kam bandagi ke liye. In all faiths we think there are angels who always pray the Almighty. So we are here, of course prayer is one, but we have to serve the humanity. खिदमते खल्क मालिक को मंजूर थी, हम उतारे गए हैं यहीं के लिए, for all the people on this earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ji. You brought this wonderful knowledge of our tradition. We take care of our people, whatever or whoever, where they are from. We won't care any of this stuff. You see somebody is coming to our house, we treat them as a special guest. We'll ask them, did you eat? Are you hungry? That's the first question we'll ask them. That's the tradition we are from. So I am so happy that Swami Balgopal introduced me to you yesterday night. This is a close circle we had yesterday night, right? So how long you are staying there?
I'm here for a month, sir.
A month. Swamiji, maybe we had to put an interfaith program on 26th of February in the evening, you know. I can come there.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll be in touch. Thank you for joining, Swamiji. Please convey my regards to all of the members there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Now we'll open up the floor for everyone. And those who want to make a comment, just take 1 minute. Don't take too much time, so that way everybody will get a chance to speak up. So who is going first? Remy, Dr. Remy.
Namaste, brothers and sisters. Peace and blessings to you all. It's indeed wonderful to be in the presence of all of you again this morning. Thanks to Guruji, Dr. Kathleen, and every person that has spoken this morning. It's refreshing on a Saturday to be in the midst of well-learned spiritual leaders during World Interfaith Harmony Week. I pray for peace, blessings, and religious harmony for all of you. May God bless you all.
I'd like to invite Queen Mother Blakely. Queen Mother, are you there? Then go to Maximo, Reverend Maximo Perino from Scientology.
I want to thank everybody to be here. It's a pleasure to see all these friends that are working hard to create a better world and better community for all of us. And what I heard and what I wrote in the chat is very true. We have to go out and understand exactly what are the problems that people are facing. And we have to provide solutions, real solutions, because otherwise the people will lose trust in what we represent. So we have to be aware that people has problem in this very challenging time. And we as a religious leader, we have to provide solution, and we have to learn each other what potential solution we have to share with each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Maximo. I got your message. I didn't answer to you, but we'll connect. Okay. And then I'd like to invite Dr. Kripal Singh Ji.
Thank you, Guruji. I really admire your leadership. This interfaith approach to life is the road to peaceful coexistence. I'm glad you make it possible for us to all to talk and view each other and learn to have a good feel for each other, so that no matter how much different views we may have, still we can agree to disagree in some areas, but still collaborate in many, many more issues for a better life for not only us, but for all humanity. And especially it's nice to see Reverend Regan. I hadn't heard it for a long time. It's good to see her and refreshed with all those nice views she presented again, along with many other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. If everybody can on your video, that will be wonderful, so I can see who are the people there. And I like to invite Dr. Sujita Vatsal to say a few words. Sujita? No, she's not there. Ruth Brinkley? Ruth? Okay, Ramesh Andre from Mahabodhi Buddha Group. Isabel Redden.
It's a pleasure to participate in this wonderful meeting with such beautiful human beings. Thanks for inviting me, Guruji. Thank you to all. Namaste.
Thank you, thank you. Agal Morat Kaur.
Thank you, Guruji, for organizing this event one more time. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone here. What a beautiful presentation. And apart from this, I was listening to these young people who are in this path, working and doing things better for the peace and for the well-being of the human beings. It's so beautiful to see them in this new path and creating and making a new world and sharing from every perspective, from every faith. We all together remember that we are all one. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Eve Harrison. Eve.
I mean, we were talking about big cycles last night, but there's a cycle, the precession of the equinox, which is about 2,000 years each, 2,200 years each. When Pisces goes into Aquarius, then there's going to be from here 2,000 years more, and then Aquarius will go into Sagittarius. It goes out, it goes backward. Sagittarius in 4,000 years it will go into Scorpio from right now forward. In terms of this 26,000 year cycle of moving through different parts of the sky as we go in the bigger cycle of the sun, right? So but this one where the avatar Jesus gets by the Romans and the Jews, right? Back there. And then they make a big story about that. But the first story doesn't even come out for 300 years. Think about this. So now 300 years ago, something happens, and now you and I are going to write down a story about that. I can't even remember what happened last week. Okay.
That is very interesting. I think they're having another event going on. And anyway, Lindy, make a final comment.
Yes, thank you. Am I muted? Am I on?
Okay, now.
You can hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Many of the youth that were representing us had to run off to like classes and work and stuff. But I will relay the amazing messages and acknowledgements that so many of you gave to them, because before they left, I can't tell you how lit up they were by getting your encouragements and acknowledgements. It really, truly is important. So I thank you on behalf of the young representatives we had here today. I also want to acknowledge Pathways to Peace, the NGO that many of us also represent at the United Nations, and to the City University of New York Liberty Partnerships Program, who helped train Rebecca with us, and Professor Sean Landry. They are my other co-chair. for all the hard work with us on these amazing young people. And Guruji, thank you so much again. You are boundless, as people said, in the amount of online programming you are contributing to connecting this amazing community, especially during Interfaith Harmony Week, but beyond that, and with us at Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence as well.
Yeah.
We cannot thank you enough, and we look forward again to letting you all know about the event.
For 10 minutes, it's going to finish within 10 minutes. Thank you, Lindy.
Thank you, my brother.
It's very important to continue our work. I know so much to do in the world. So here I individually connect with the people. Usually having an event, you need few people to run the show. Here I have 2 hands and 1 head. So over 500 people are watching the program.
I think, Guruji, you have to invite us all to work out with you at the Y. That's going to be the next, the next journey.
So usually up to 2 p.m. I do online programs, even night I do. Then I go to public events or meetings after. It may end up 1 o'clock in the night. This is my day-to-day life, you know. So I just go with the flow of the nature in my life. Nothing to complain about. Whatever happening, I take it easy way. Yeah, that's a purpose for everything. That's the thing I believe. I remember when I left America, I don't want to live here because you make money, you spend money. In the end, only you had to pay the credit card, right? So I went back to India. So Swami came there. Oh, then he stayed 2 weeks in my house, and he said, no, you had to come back here. Then I came back. Then I end up with living with him and taking care of him. That's the thing happened. Then I know he had the mission continuing through me. He was very popular religious leader at the UN. He blew the shell at the 2000 Millennium Summit, and so many events. He was very active at the United Nations, and he brought me to the United Nations. Otherwise, I won't be part of the religious group there. That was in 2000. Then we became part of the NGOs there, connecting with the people in different ways. And then the last 2.5 years, I'm serving as a secretary of the religious NGOs committee there. So I enjoy working with the different people from different countries, even though some languages I cannot understand. Still, I sit with them and listen, and I start understanding from their lip movements, you know, and a few words I learned from different languages. It's like when I was in India, I used to be part of the National Cadet Corps for 7 years. And 2 years I was continuously a senior under officer. It's not normal. I go to all the state. In India, we have so many languages and dialects. Over 2,000 dialects are there. Official languages are around 30, including English. And I speak Malayalam. And when I go to North, I cannot understand the language. It's totally different. Culture is different, food is different. But we accommodate, we learn from this National Cadet Corps. They train us, you know. They say, okay, you bring only a duffel bag, nothing else. You go there in a camp with 1,000 people, we may have one water resource, one pipe, that's it. For drinking, using for toilet, everything you have to use for one pipe. So they bring us in the middle of the forest, leave us there, and they leave. So we had to make a ground where you can sleep on the ground. You know, you make a tent. Maybe 15-20 people are in the tent, and we had to cook our food. Like 6,000 chapatis, rotis, you make in one time, in the morning or afternoon or evening. We had to make it. So I learned how to make the chapati. You know, we have a big plate, like a metal sheet, put the fire under, and you make the chapati, put it there, around 50 chapatis are on the top. Then you had to turn it, right? So you put the spoon under it and throw it to the air, it will flip it, and other side will come on the plate. This is the way we used to experience like that. Sometimes you go to temples or churches for a big festival, thousands of people are in the line to have food. So you serve food for hours and hours and hours. You cannot escape from that. You stuck there. But you learn what the life meant for. Because of those experiences when I came to New York, it was very easy for me to handle situations. So that is like when you want to make a knife, you have to put the iron in the fire, make it really red, burning red, and smash it. That's the way you make the knife. So that's why my parents gave me a really hard time to learn different things. So they were molding me. I didn't understand that part. I remember when my father used to call me at 4 o'clock in the morning to do yoga. Then I used to curse him. As a child, it's very hard to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So now I realize for me, there's no day and night. Whenever I want to take a nap, I'll say nap. There's no sleep, only nap. 1 or 2 hours, that's it. So they mold me like that. So it's a very interesting how our path is going in spirituality. It's not an easy job in spiritual path. You know, I had to be adaptive, accommodative, and even though people give hard time, we had to be still loving them. You know, this is not simple way to go. Anyway, we had a wonderful gathering today. This is the 5th day. We finished 5th day, and tomorrow people from South America is going to perform their, I don't know what they're going to do it. I'm just waiting. And Monday will be the last part of the 7th day programs. Then we'll celebrate. Then we'll continue discussion groups. It may change, sometimes may change. I know there's a meeting with the mayor next 10th of February. I tried to air our program from there. Let me see how it will work out. And other meetings are physical meetings are going on until 27th. That's why I request Swamiji to make a program in his temple on 26th Saturday evening. So I can go there and come back for the next day. We have an award ceremony in Long Island. And definitely whoever want to make any programs during these days, if you have any idea, let me know. We'll accommodate. Interfaith, not only for a religious group or a culture, it should be a mix of things. Because we are a member of the global community. World Yoga community, I never made my yoga. I made World Yoga community for the people. If I make Guru Dileepji's yoga, I make millions.
Will be fine for Saturday. What time?
Anything evening is fine. I had to be back by 11 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we can say 5 to 6.
5 is good. 5 to 7 we finish, then we'll have a food and leave. That's good.
Thank you.
Invite all the VAPs, political leaders, religious leaders, community leaders. We'll have an award ceremony and all this stuff. Yeah.
No.
And 28th will be our final gala 3-hour program. I'm trying to work on that part. I know somebody will proclaim those days, as usual. And
okay, we'll invite others as well.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And it's our proud moment for on 28th. That is our 37th annual program. And we never give up. Something I learned, even if I left alone, I never give up. That's the way I learned something. So we go as a group, never give up.
Yeah, I trust you'll never be alone.
I am happy you said that word, because I know when a door closes in front of me, 10 doors will open. This is my personal experience. Definitely. So I have a faith. I know we're supposed to implement in the world. World is in a chaos, and we cannot just watch and sit quiet. We have to act. Even if you learn one point of philosophy, we should implement that philosophy rather than learn all the philosophy and not doing anything. So everything should be spirituality, and the political movement and the social movement should go, science, everything should go in hand. We cannot exclude any person in our life. Inclusion is the better. So like a Mother Teresa says, no one left behind. I believe in that philosophy. I hope Queen Mother Blackley is here to say a few words.
We have.
Okay, she's not on. Anyway, so see you everyone tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.